The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi all, good morning. Am I audible? You can reply me on the chat panel that you have. I would not be able to put you on mute, unmute, so you can reply on the chat. Can you see my messages? Yep, I got the reply. Hi Chandu, hi Ranjit, good morning. Yep, cool. Hi Sandeep and Harshavardhan, Raja, Vipul. Hi all. Yep, thanks Chandu, thanks for responding. Hi Akin, good morning. Hi Tarak. Hi Raja, welcome. Okay, Harshavardhan, Harsha. Okay, cool. Hi Pavan. Well, let's wait for another couple of minutes and we shall start going ahead. Okay. Hi, Harsha. You will not be able to turn your speaker on because there'll be some background noise which will interrupt the flow of the session. So, if you have any questions, you just post it over here on the questions panel and I will make sure that I will respond to all your questions. Okay. Cool. Well, let's go ahead. So, here you have few pointers. I hope you would have seen that to make sure that you have a good session going on. Just make sure that you log on time. Okay, don't miss the concepts. Every day, by the time we start the session, we'll be having a recap of what we discussed in the previous module, and then we will go back to the ongoing modules. And just make sure that you have a good internet connectivity as well. I'm sure that there will be no internet issue from my side or from the GoToWebinar portal. If at all, if there's any problem on the audio or internet, something like that, I would be getting a warning symbol over here. So I will inform you guys that the screen will not be visible or anything like that, and I will try rejoining. If not, please make sure that you have a good internet connectivity and you make sure that you will be rejoining the session if you are having any issues. Okay. If there's any sort of critical things that's happening, like you're not able to see the screen or you're not able to follow me, something like that, if you want to stop me immediately, just you have an option of raising your hands. Okay. Just raise the hands. You have an option there. I guess Arsha has raised his hands now. So just make sure that you click on that so that I will stop the session. I will deal your queries and then I will go for the next question. Okay. So whenever there is a critical situation, please raise your hands. Okay. And yes, we will be having too many interactive questions that we are going to be discussing over here. So make sure that you answer the questions. Okay. You can reply on the questions panel and let's make it as a effective one. Okay. Yep, I have someone who has raised their hands. Harsha, Chandu. Okay. Yep, tell me please, guys. Harsha, Chandu, any questions? Okay, cool. No problem. Fine. Well, so initially, welcome all for the EduReka's online training on Azure 7523. And I'm Feroz Khan. You can call me, it's a bit long name, Abdul Rashid Feroz Khan. You can call me Feroz. Okay. And I'm a Microsoft MVP on Azure and I have more than around 10 years of experience working with cloud consulting and Microsoft certified trainer. And I do trainings on Azure, AWS, and GCP. I'm a cloud consultant, so I work with all the platforms, all the cloud platforms that we have. And I'm a founder and director of CodeSizzler, which is a Microsoft vendor partner company, and we do consulting. We do work on IoT projects, and they are like working on the migration projects as well, which is from on-premise to cloud and from one cloud environment to the other cloud environment for Tech Mahindra, for Adobe, Deloitte, Boeing, all these corporates. So that's a bit short introduction of mine, and let's get on to the modules here. I hope you can see the screen, and we have different course modules which are given up here, which is the course outline for exam 7533, which has been fixed by Microsoft. So the first module is about introduction to Azure. It speaks about what is cloud computing and what is Azure, what you can do with Azure, what all the services that are available in Azure, etc. And the second module comes up with implementing and managing your Azure networking. So implementing and managing your Azure networking is about how you can put up your virtual networks, what sort of virtual network address you can assign it, the subnets, okay, VNet peering, doing site to site and multi-site to site connectivity. So we will be discussing all those things on implementing and managing the Azure networking. The third module is about implementing Azure Resource Manager virtual machines. So Azure comes up with two sort of categories. One is your classic one, and the another one is the resource manager one. The classic is the older one, which is no more available, and the new one is your resource manager one. So the point over here is you will be having something called as resource group, where you're going to create any sort of resource, and you will be having all the resource which will be grouped into that particular resource group. Let's make it simple. It's just like a folder. Okay, you have a folder and you put all your data into it, right? And let's name it as Edureka, or let's name it as Azure. So there will be a folder where you have all the files which are related to the particular folder over there. And that's the same over here. You will be having a resource group. Let's name the resource group as CodeSizzler. And in that particular resource group, you will be having the entire virtual machines components like your virtual network. You'll be having your cloud services. You'll be having your storage. You'll be having your image of the virtual machine, all these things over there. The next module is managing and monitoring your ARM virtual machines. So ARM is again the Azure Resource Manager, which is in short, it is written as ARM. So managing and monitoring ARM virtual machines is about you're going to create a virtual machine and you're just going to make sense about how you can do the scaling functionalities, how you can do uh, the security features on virtual machine, how we are going to work for auto scaling, okay, high availability. So all these things will be taken care by managing and monitoring your ARM virtual machines. And next comes implementing Azure App Services, which is the fifth module. So the fifth module speaks about the basic PaaS services, which is about your web apps, your mobile apps, logic apps, etc. So here you will be working on creating a website. Okay, you will be working on creating a website, creating a mobile app, which is the backend application for sending push notifications, all these things. And you will also work on a serverless environment, which is about logic apps. You're not going to write any scripts. You're just going to drag and drop the components, and you're going to build the flow on the logic apps. So that's about Azure App Services. And the next module, which is the sixth one, is planning and implementing Azure Storage Services. Azure Storage is a normal storage where you're going to store all your files which will be related to the virtual machines or which can be related towards a web app or anything like that. So the storage is where you're going to store all your files. You can store the files and you can even share it between different virtual machines, or you can share the files even between the on-premise machines and the cloud machines. So your Azure Storage Service comes up with four components. One is your blobs. Blob is your binary large object, and you have files, which is for file sharing, tables, just a easy table sharing, and queues where you're going to use it for messaging, the normal queues. The next module is about implementing your Azure SQL database and storage backup recovery services. So this speaks about the SQL database. You're going to create a relational database, which is Azure SQL database. And there you're going to work on how you're going to take a backup as such. You're going to implement a backup. You're going to come up with geo replication over there. You will also speak about security, how you're going to keep your SQL database to be secure, how you can access the SQL database, and how you can push data in towards your Azure SQL database. And yes, the very important thing is they will also speak about the comparison between the on-premise and the cloud machines, how the cloud machines are fine better compared towards the on-premise as such. The next eighth module is about implementing your Azure Active Directory. So implementing Azure Active Directory is somewhere you're going to manage the tenants. You're going to manage the tenants of your organization. You're going to manage the subscriptions. You're going to set up B2C, which is business to customers. And you will also work with multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is, let's say you're going to log on towards a machine. You're going to log on towards a particular web portal, and you need to come up with a multi-factor authentication like sending OTP verification or authenticating using the authenticator app of Microsoft. And all these things can be done using Azure AD. You can also manage the tenants between the on-premise, and you can move it towards the cloud machines using AD Connect. So all those things we'll be discussing on 8th and the ninth module. So managing Azure AD and implementing AD B2C and B2B. We will be working on all these things on the 8th and ninth module. So the 8th and the ninth module completely speaks about Active Directory. The 10th module is where you're going to work on designing and deploying the ARM templates. So the designing and deploying ARM templates is you're not going to work from PowerShell, or you're not going to work from the Azure portal. Instead, you're just going to work from Visual Studio. You're going to design the ARM templates, and you're going to push the ARM templates from your Visual Studio, where you'll be having the resource spinned up on your Azure portal. So that's a complete developer track where you're going to design and you're going to develop ARM templates. Just one thing, you're not going to work on creating you're not going to write the scripts over here. Okay, instead you're just going to get the templates. You're going to call the things that you need, like you will call the parameters that I need a virtual network, I need a storage account, I need a virtual machine, all these things. So that's why we go for ARM templates. And the 11th module is where we are going to implement Azure based management and automation. So that we call it as Azure automation. The automation is where you're going to create runbooks. Either you can create a normal PowerShell runbook or the workflow runbook, anything like that. And there you're going to write the scripts which will tell you about when you need to spin up the virtual machine, when you need to stop the virtual machine, when you need to go for scaling. Okay, so all those things we'll be mentioning it over here. So that's Azure automation. Azure automation is, it's going to work on its own. It's not going to rely on anything as such. So that's Azure based management and automation. Well, so taking up all these modules each and every day, we are going to discuss each module. So it's in short, we are going to cover two modules on one weekend. Okay, so today we will be starting with introduction to Azure. And before going to this introduction to Azure, I just want to make sense by let's make sense that what is your previous knowledge on Azure, or what you know on cloud. So you can just put it on the questions panel. Just let me know what's the knowledge that you guys have on cloud. Hi, mate. Will you help us with the resume creation at the end of the class? Resume creation. Sorry, it's something that you need to work on it, mate. It's not like we are going to work with resume creation or anything like that. If it's something on Azure, you can post it. You can just, once if you're clearing the examination and if you're clearing the certification over here, you will be getting a certificate that you can mention it on the resume. I will not work exactly on creating a resume or anything like that. Okay. Hi, Chandu. We'll cover PowerShell scripting here in the schools. Yes, of course. We will be working on the PowerShell as well. Hi, Rishabh. Vipul. I just chatted on AWS Cloud. Okay, cool. Hi, Chandu. I mean automation with PowerShell. Yes, we have Chandu. We have it. We have to work on the PowerShell for automation. We have that module. Don't worry. Hi, Ranjit. I am having Azure beginner. Okay, you're a beginner on Azure. Cool. That sounds good. Hi, Tarek. By using cloud, we can use hardware and software by on demand. Yep, that's true. I'm a AWS engineer. I want to learn Azure too. That makes sense. Good, mate. Hi, Vipul. I'm working before on Cisco router and switch. Okay, so you should be strong on networking. Hi, Rishabh. I would expect things from basics. Yep, this course is from basics. Don't worry. I have no knowledge on PowerShell. We'll let cover here. Yes, Pawan, we will be working from the scratch. Hi, Rishabh. I have little knowledge about cloud. I'm a beginner on it. Okay, cool. And Sandeep, hi. Little bit knowledge on Azure, working on VMware. Sounds good. Cool. So that makes sense that you guys, I mean, like almost all of you have a basic knowledge about the cloud, but still, this 533 will work from the basics. It will work from what is cloud computing. Okay, so you don't need to worry if you guys are new for it or anything like that. We will also go with the introductory part and we will work from the PowerShell, all these things. Okay. Hi Chandu, please give comparison between AWS and Azure wherever it is possible because I have little knowledge on AWS, just want to compare. Yes, Chandu, I'll just give you a scratch of it, okay? Because others are not AWS guys and we cannot take more time on the comparison as such. Instead, you just drop me a mail. Still, I will speak about it. I will give you the comparison. If you still need more details, drop me a mail. I can help you on the comparison. Okay. Pawan Kumar, hi. 7533 covers website hosting as well. Yep, it covers. Cool. So I hope we are good to go with the module now. So let's start with the module one, which is Introduction to Azure. And by the end of this module, you should be able to understand the services that we have in Azure. So we will identify the services and the capabilities that Microsoft Azure provides you. So, commonly speaking, we will be having a basic sense about what all the services that we have in Azure and which service you can use when you're going to go for a particular implementation or anything like that. And the second objective is that you will be using Azure portals to manage the Azure services and the subscriptions. And then we will be working on the PowerShell to manage Azure services and subscriptions. And finally, we will be using Azure Resource Manager to manage the Azure resource. So by the end of today's session, you should be able to understand the services that we have in Azure. You should be able to work on Azure portal and from PowerShell. You will create services using PowerShell and also using Azure portal on managing the subscriptions and other things. And you will also make sense about how you can manage the Azure Resource Manager. So that's the objective for today. Let's go ahead with the objectives, whatever we have to be completed. And by the end of each and every module, I'll come back to the questions panel and I'll check the questions, whatever you have written. Okay. So don't worry if you have any questions, just drop it there. I'll make sure that I will answer the questions on each and every part of the module. And yes, we will go with the lab. Okay, I will give you time to work on the lab things as well. You no need to worry about it. And you will also activate a free Azure account by today. So don't worry about it. Okay. So here we go. The Azure all starts with something called as cloud computing. Cloud computing is what the technology that we are working with almost at all part of the era today. So the cloud computing is just a remote server It is there available somewhere on the cloud. It is somewhere available across the globe. And you're going to access the data, you're going to manage the data, you're going to process the data. Okay. Either you can store it, you can retrieve it, or you can process some sort of information, computation, anything as such, okay, on a server which is available at some location over the internet. So ideally speaking, it's like a machine which is going to be available at any part of the globe. Okay, it might be at US, it might be at UK, it might be at Singapore. You're just going to access it by using internet. That's it. So it's so simple. You're going to store the data on a machine. It's not your laptop. Instead, it is going to be a server machine which is going to be available on some location across the globe. So this location, you can specify it. You can say that I need a nearby location. Let's say you're from India. You can say that I need a nearby location, which will be Chennai or which will be Mumbai. You can mention that and you can store your data over there. So whenever you store the data, you're just going to make sure that you will store your data at a location which is nearby to your customers. Let's say your customer of Amazon from India, so all your data will be stored on Indian data center. It will not be stored at US. So it should be at India. Only then you can access the data at ease. So that's cloud computing. You're just going to access, you're just going to manage the entire data which is going to be there on the cloud. The cloud models comes up with different two things as service models and deployment models. The service models is about the different services that cloud offers for you. Let's say it is IaaS, PaaS, and the SaaS components. And in the deployment model is about how we are going to deploy it. It has public cloud, it has private cloud, and a hybrid cloud. Let me first speak about the service models, which is about the IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. The cloud models, which is IaaS, is the infrastructure. We call it as infrastructure as a service. So you're going to run your application over the cloud, and there it might be a physical machine, and from your side, it might be a virtual machine. It should be a virtual machine, of course. It is not that you're going to buy a machine. It is like you're going to provision a machine which will be on the cloud in the sense it's going to be somewhere across the globe, and you're going to work on it by using the normal infrastructure. It might be a virtual network. You're going to provision the virtual network. You're going to say that I need a Windows server machine, okay, or I need a Visual Studio on the Windows server machine, or even a Ubuntu machine, something like that. So once when you configure all these things, it's called infrastructure. You're going to manage, I mean, you're going to deploy the entire infrastructure, and the infrastructure's management, like the security, availability, all these things will be taken care by the cloud service provider. Next comes your PaaS. The PaaS is your platform as a service. So here you're going to create or you're going to deploy your own applications using the tools which are available on the cloud. So the user cannot take the control over the architecture. The user cannot say that I'm going to modify this software or another way or something like that. It's just available, and you're going to go there. You're going to develop the things, and you're going to make it to be available. The best example that I can tell you is your WordPress. You have WordPress on cloud. You just go to WordPress and you will say that I'm going to create a web app, and there you go. You're not going to say that I will be having WordPress on this many computation or anything like that. You're just going to use WordPress to develop your websites. That's it. Next comes your SaaS components. SaaS is your software as a service. So software as a service is basically like you have a software which is on the cloud, you're going to rent it, and you're going to pay for what you're going to use there. So the best example that I can tell you is your Office 365, you have Gmail, okay? So all these things where customers come there, they read the mails, they store their data on Google Drive, they store their data on OneDrive, and they come back. So that's software as a service. Okay. So I repeat again, IaaS is where you're going to manage the infrastructure, you're going to deploy the infrastructure entirely and the security and the availability, all these things will be taken care by the cloud service provider. The best example for IaaS is creating virtual machines. Okay, PaaS is where you're going to create and you're going to deploy your own applications on the cloud. You will not be able to manage any architecture, or you will not be able to manage any tools which are available on the PaaS. You cannot take the control over it. The best example is WordPress on cloud. The next comes SaaS, which is software as a service. The software as a service is that you have the tools and you have the environment, everything available, and the customers, you guys just go there, you just consume the software to access your things. The example is again Google Drive, OneDrive, Gmail, Office 365, Microsoft Word Online. Okay, so all those things are software as a service. Next comes your deployment models. The deployment model is where you have the public cloud, you have private cloud, and the hybrid cloud. So you have three sorts of clouds here. The public cloud is where in your public cloud you will be having the deployment mode on a public usage. So it's a public in the sense it's like Microsoft Azure. You have a public cloud which is Microsoft Azure. You go there, you pay for whatever you're going to use, and you put your applications over there. Now, the security and all these things will be managed completely by the cloud service provider, which might be AWS, or it might be your Azure, or it might be even Google Cloud. The next comes your private cloud. The private cloud is operated by any company who is going to buy the data centers and who are going to manage it on their own. So these data centers, I mean, like you are going to buy a data center, you're going to buy the machine, you're going to manage the machine and all these things. So this is like a critical thing where you're going to invest money on buying the machines. You're going to manage the security, all these things. So the private cloud is a costly solution and it is a risky solution where you are going to take the control over the security, availability, and managing the machines. Okay. So the private cloud is simply the on-premise data center. Let's say that a best example is, let's consider Tech Mahindra as their own data centers. Okay, consider Tech Mahindra as their own data centers. So Tech Mahindra has to make sure that they have their data to be available for the customers at all time. They need to buy the machines and they need to have the network engineers who will be managing it. They need to maintain the genset where they are going to make sure that the power will be always available. They need to make sure about the security. So all these factors falls on private cloud. And the hybrid cloud is where you're going to mix it up with the on-premise and the cloud environment. So whenever there's going to be a combination of the on-premise and the cloud environment, then it's going to be the hybrid cloud. Now I will speak about the best examples for each and everything. The public cloud's best example is where you have things like, for example, the public cloud can be sent as NDTV news channel, right? You have an NDTV website, you go there and you have all the web news which are available on the cloud. So that's public cloud. NDTV works with Microsoft Azure. He's a customer of Azure. So he has all his data on the Azure cloud. The next comes your private cloud. The private cloud is where you're going to manage all your data. Okay, your complete data and everything is managed at on-premise. The best example is for we guys, it is on cloud, but for Facebook, for people who work on Facebook or for Facebook engineers, it is an on-premise one. Facebook is not rented or Facebook is not with any cloud service provider. They have their own data centers. Or you can even say Visa cards, MasterCards, all these guys. And the hybrid cloud is where you're going to manage both the things, which is like applications like Swiggy, Uber, Foodpanda, all these things. So you have your application which is available on the public cloud, and when it comes for the payment gateway, you need to call the data. I mean the data informations like your Visa data cards, okay, your Visa card informations, your Mastercard informations, all these things where they are at on premise. So in a Swiggy application, you have the menu items of your restaurant, which is on public cloud. And when you go for the payment gateway, you're going to call the information which is available on the Visa data center, and there you go up for the hybrid cloud architecture. Any questions? I hope you guys are clear. Any questions? Guys, are you there? Yeah. Hi Chandu, why NDTV use public cloud? Any reason for this? No, it's not like any reason. It's just like you're going to come up with a cost cutoff. If at all, if you're going to have the own on-premise data center, you need to make sure that you will do scalability. See, NDTV is not like Facebook. Facebook can have a prediction. They can have an analysis search where they can say that every day they have only this many of bandwidth that are required and this many customers who are using Facebook as such. It gradually grows. It's not like all of a sudden it grows. But NDTV is not like that. If you have a breaking news today, there are going to be more number of customers who are going to log into the application and they are going to see the news and all these things. So in that case, they need to scale it up. NDTV cannot work on scaling up and scaling down. They cannot buy the hardware. They cannot provision it all of a sudden or anything like that. So considering all these reasons, even the security and all these things, they just go for the cloud. That's it. It's simple. Okay. Thanks, Rishabh. Thanks, Pawan. Harsha, I hope you're good now. Right? Sorry, Chandu. Is your question is clear now? Okay, cool. Hi, Harsha. Hybrid cloud, nothing but comparison, oh, sorry, combination of public and private cloud. Yes, that's right, Harsha. Yes. Well, so let's go ahead. So here we go with the service models which are offered. Okay. So the service models comes up completely with a package software which holds the applications, which holds the data, runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, servers, storage, networking, all these things. So these are all the services which either the CSP can manage or the client, that is you guys, can manage it. So when you speak about infrastructure, you're going to say that I'll be hosting an application, which can be a PHP application or a Python application or even a .NET application, something like that. You're going to give the data here and the runtime. You're going to have the middleware and the operating system. So you will be giving up all these details over here. And the rest of the things like the virtualization, the servers, storing the data, networking, all these things will be managed by the cloud service provider. So here managed by vendor in the sense it is Microsoft. So Microsoft manages all these things when you go for IaaS. Whereas in the past, you're going to manage just the application and the data. You're going to say that I'll build an application which is a WordPress application and my data is there available with me, like the videos, photos, all these things. So that's platform as a service, and the rest of the things will be managed by the vendor. WordPress can be on WordPress on Azure can be on Windows or it can be on Linux, anything. Next comes your software as a service. The software as a service is where the complete software is going to be managed by the vendor. Okay, you're just going to go there and you're going to access the things that you need. That's it. So that's software as a service. So here goes an image of the cloud vendors who are playing a large role for today. So you have AWS, which is Amazon, the Amazon Web Services. You have Microsoft, who plays with Microsoft Azure. You have Google, which comes up with Google Cloud Platform. And we do have Rackspace, all these guys who are cloud service providers. So the rock stars over here are three people: Microsoft, AWS, and GCP. Okay, so these three guys are the one who play with the cloud related services and they offer a good cloud platform for their customers. So let's go ahead with the overview of Microsoft Azure now. So the cloud computing, whatever we were discussing as of now, is going to be related with Microsoft Azure now. Microsoft Azure is a popular cloud service platform, and these guys like BMW, your guys like your eBay, your Symantec, Samsung, Alaska Airlines, okay, your iCloud, all these people work with Azure, where they host their data, they host their virtual machine, and they work with their applications, not just the applications and all these things. Still, the entire storage, the services, whatever we have, all these things are managed with Azure. So Azure has a good number of market space, and Azure has more number of customers compared to the other cloud service providers. You can just go up here. I will show you. You can go for azure.microsoft.com and see here you can find it. Let's wait for the slides. Okay, they have removed it. Yes, can you find this? 90 percentage of the Fortune 500 companies trust the business on the Microsoft cloud. And you have the customers over here. We have Adobe who is working with us. We have Walmart. We have Coca-Cola. So these are all guys who are the customers of Azure. Okay. Now getting on to the topic back. Here is the demand of the Azure administration professional. So you guys would be having a question, either is it right to go with Azure? Is it good to take up the certification or what as such? So the demand for the Azure goes up as it moves. It's up to 2017 where you can find the job matches that you can find it. So it's across the globe that you have more number of job availability once if you're an Azure certified professional. And the growth of Azure in the cloud market is where it grows ideally. You can find the blue color one at the North America. You have more number of customers on Azure who are working with it. And as it goes in the Europe, you can find in Asia and also in the Australia, all these regions where we have more number of customers. And here you can find the link. I hope you guys can find the link. Just take a note of it, or I will even share it with you people. So this is just a comparison between the geographical coverage of AWS, Azure, and the Google Cloud Platform. So it's like you have more number of data centers on Azure, and that's the reason that we have more number of customers who are working with Azure. So what is Microsoft Azure? The Microsoft Azure is a cloud platform which works with DevOps, which works with IT professionals, which works with developer environments, it works with your managing the applications, everything. Ideally, it is a combination of IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So you have the entire service, whatever you have on the cloud, which is available on Azure. And you're going to work with the Microsoft data center where you're going to provision the resource and you're going to make access of it. The second thing is Azure is flexible. You no need to have any prerequisites knowledge or anything like that. And it gives you a good business on demand while you go for virtual machines and everything. So it's like it costs less and it's easy to manage. It is not like AWS. It is not like GCP. You can just come here. It's like you create folders. You just create a virtual machine and you work with the virtual machines there. The third thing that we have here is the cloud environment, which allows business to quickly deploy their applications. So this is about managing the hardware and the software tools. Let's say your customers are with Ubuntu. Okay, they need their applications to be hosted on Ubuntu servers. So Azure also supports you for open source environments where you can make use of Ubuntu machines which are available on Microsoft Azure or any sort of open source stuff. It might be WordPress, it might be your database which are non-relational or even open source database platforms. So all these things are available here. The benefits of Microsoft Azure is that you can build your apps easily and you can extend it towards your on-premise environment even, and you can deploy the cloud at the on-premise environment as well. And to protect your business continuity, you can take the control over the network security group. You're going to manage the firewall, you're going to manage the scalability in your local regions, all these things. So that helps you to develop your business and to protect your business. The features of Microsoft Azure is that it focuses a large on the public cloud. So public cloud in the sense you can spin up your virtual machine, you can make it to be available across the globe at any point, and it has the technology of the future. It rapidly inherits, it rapidly integrates the open source market and also the Microsoft service markets which are available. And it's easy to adopt and learn. It's very easy. You no need to worry about like you're going to put it across the data centers or anything like that. It has high efficient tools like PowerShell, Azure Portal, Terraform, all these things, and you have tremendous potential, which is the cloud infrastructure that keeps on growing with more number of data centers across the globe. Azure's presence in the cloud market is where you have more number of opportunities, you have more number of customers across the globe. So this is like a old slide that we have 57 percentage of Fortune companies, but now we have like around 90 percentage that we have achieved. That you can find it here. You can find the details over here. See, we have all these guys, Johnson Controls, all these people who are the customers. You can filter out anything. Let's say I will search for Wipro, right? See, Wipro works with Azure Cloud. What else you need? You need Infosys. Let's select. Let's search for Infosys. See Infosys Limited. So all these guys, like whatever the companies that you're going to search for, let's say Tata. So your Tata Consulting Services is there. Your Malaysia Airlines is there. So it's all like you have all the corporates who are added up towards Microsoft Azure. And that's the social presence of Azure. I don't want to waste your time speaking about why Azure, all these things. Let's get into the topic in detail. Okay. So your Azure infrastructure as a service is globally available. It also helps for hybrid connectivity and it is a trusted resource. It makes sure that you have the performance and the scaling functionalities. It makes sure about the security as well and the compliance. It's flexible and it is also cost optimized, which means that you're just going to pay for whatever you're going to use. You can stop the virtual machine if it's not going to be used. Okay, so those things you can do it on Azure infrastructure. And next comes your on-premise environment. So the on-premise compared with the Azure Saas is where you have a huge cost cutoff when you speak about cloud compared towards the on-premise environment. So you have a simple calculation here, which has a business app server at the on-premise, and that has been compared towards a server, I mean a virtual machine instance, and you can find that you have a cost for 1 year fairly, which has been spiked up to 5 years of the spending what you need to do. So you have around $6,190 in 5 years, which is the average cost of buying a new hardware and the software which has been spent over here. And that's the main reason that you come towards cloud. So you have a huge cost cutoff when you speak about Azure Cloud. The next is why on-premise lags behind the Azure SaaS services. The on-premise is it doesn't provide you with a huge uptime or anything like that, whereas the cloud provides you a good uptime. Ideally speaking, on Azure, it has more uptime, it has more availability when you compare it towards on-premise. So here goes a sample use case of Microsoft Azure. Consider TEXA is working on the vehicle diagnostics, okay, and they came up with a revolutionary, which is IT solution for vehicle owners to help on saving the time, money, and the gas, and possibly the lives across. So now the situation is that they need remote access to diagnose the data. Until recently, only mechanics and engine enthusiasts could access data from computer in the car, motorcycle, truck, or the boat. So now allowing people to automatically alert the emergency response personnel if their vehicles are involved in an accident. So it's like it's going to pop up automatic information saying that your car is at an accident or it's going to be on a trouble in prior. Historically, if a vehicle breaks down, mechanics must travel to the location and diagnose the problem. So if the car is going to be at breakdown, your mechanic should come to the location and they should troubleshoot it automatically. So this is the situation that the Texa has, and the solution that Azure comes up with that is they use your Azure event tabs and they use the IoT scenarios with the Redis cache, all these things over here. So they can collect all the data from the vehicle's sensor, where the engineers have built the dongles that plugs into the onboard diagnostic port. So you can build up a port, you can plug in the cable for that, and the dongle will send the data via Bluetooth using towards the Texas data center, which is running Microsoft Azure SQL Server. The customers can use custom mobile applications. So mobile applications is the backend, which can send the push notification to the mechanics, okay, saying that I have this problem on my vehicle as such. So the dongle will send the information using event hubs, and the data is processed by using stream and altx, where you can have a temporary cache as well, which is Redis cache, and the data is partitioned by serial numbers using Cosmos DB and the SQL database as well, and they are allowed to be communicated with the connected devices. So here it goes, what the each and every component does as such. Now let's get into the Microsoft Azure geographic regions and the locations. So Microsoft Azure has number of 54 data center regions across the globe, and that makes sure that you can operate from any part of the world. And Azure geography is defined as the area of the world. So let's even simply say that we normally used to say on the Azure programs that when you count the number of data centers that you have for AWS and even for GCP, it cannot be equal towards Azure's data center count. So 54 is the count which we totally have for the data centers across the globe, and an Azure region is an area within a geography. So one Azure region is an area within a geography. Let's say in India, we have Mumbai, we have Chennai, and we have Pune. So we have 54 regions, and in each region you will be having number of data centers. Let's consider this. Azure data center regions. Right? Can you find this? 54 regions, and it's available across 140 countries. So this is the data center regions, and in here you can find you have South India, you have Central India, and West India. So that's the number of regions that we have. So ideally, it's Mumbai, Pune, and Chennai. So you can find it here. And the Azure regional factors is where you need to make sure about where is your business located. Whenever you put up a resource, you need to make sure that which location you're going to spin up, and the compliance needs. Do your customer have any compliance requirements as such, and the pricing? So the pricing differs for each and every data center region. The pricing is not going to be the same for all data center regions as such. So you need to check that as well. The next is the service availability. The service availability is the service whether it's available on your particular data center region as such. And the data residency is the specific data residency that your customers will be owning it for the data management. Now, what is a data center? The data center is where it's a component, it's a hardware that is bought by Microsoft, that has been set up by Microsoft, and it has networking equipment, all these things. And you're going to process your data, you're going to store the data, and you're going to collect the data as such. So that's the data center that you have. And next is Microsoft Azure Data Center. The Microsoft Azure Data Center, as we discussed earlier, it's available on 140 countries, 54 data center regions. It is available for 17 languages that can be supported. It also supports for 24 currencies. It also supports for INR as well. So the Azure Data Center features. The Azure Data Center features are like it's globally available. It has single geography, it has region, it also has a country basis as such. and it has customers and partners across the globe where they are available for 24 by 7 support for your data centers. It also has a redundancy and recovery. So redundancy in the sense you have the data replication where we have different types of applications as locally redundant, geo redundant, zone redundant, read access, read access, geo redundant, all these things. So locally redundant is where it gets replicated on the same data center region. Geo redundant is it gets replicated on a different data center region somewhere across the globe. So you'll be having three copies on the primary data center and three copies on the secondary data center. Zone redundant is on zone related things, and your read access geo redundant is a cost cutoff where the primary data center region will have both the read and write access. The secondary region will have only read access. So that's a cost cutoff compared to the geo redundant storage. Next, it's environment sustainability. So the you have best environment sustainability on Azure, where you have the dynamic industry experience that has the best practices and the products which has been integrated for sustainability over here. The next comes your Azure services. Before going to this, any questions? Guys, make it interactive, please. Yep. Thanks, Vipul. Thanks for responding. So next is your Azure services. In this Azure services, you can find the number of services that we have. So here goes the number of services that we have. You have security and management where you have the Azure AD, you have automation, scheduler, key vault. Okay, all these things have been mapped into the security and management. Media and content delivery network is where you have media services, you have content delivery network, all these things. Integration is with your API management. You can integrate your apps, you can call your logic apps with the on-premise machines. You have compute services like the VM, skill sets, dev test lab environments. You have web apps, mobile apps on the PaaS. You have developer services. Okay, so it's like you can make sense this on detail. You have more number of services which are available on the cloud. Let's get into each and everything as we go to make sense about what all the services that we have here. Okay. So, Munna, hi Munna, what is zone? Zone is your data center region zone. So, let's consider region is India, data center region is India. Okay, and zone is you have West India, you have South India, and you have Central India. So, that is zone. Zones will be available within the data center regions. Hi Rishabh, what is CDN? CDN is your content delivery network. Okay, so CDN is for you'll be having edge location, you will be having a point of presence where it can store the data for a particular period of time, and that makes sure that your data has high availability for your customers. Hi David. What are the most important services to focus as a beginner in Azure? You should start with PaaS, which is web apps. Okay, but on this course, you will be focusing a lot on almost like all the services. Okay, don't worry, I will make it simple. Hi Rosario, how to search for the most reasonable zone? See, it's not like you cannot search it. Instead, you need to go up with where your customers are based across. Like, let's say the pointers, your customers are based out of Seattle. So you need to specify the US data center region and you need to deploy the things over there. Hi, Arsha, is it console view of Azure portal? No, it's not the console view. I will show you the console view. Okay. Hi, Ranjit. Which service are used for data migration from on-premise to cloud or vice versa? Ranjit, let's not get into higher. Okay, I will go as per the flow. Please don't go for the higher things. Okay, we will go module by module. Okay, this is introduction to Microsoft Azure. So as we go, we will go for the next topics. Is that okay? Hi Chandu. Do we get all services in each regions? No, Chandu, you will not get all the services in each regions. Each and every data center regions has some services which are not available. You can find it on the regions, but not on the data center zones. Okay, so it matters towards the zones. I hope almost all of you are clear with your questions, right? Any other questions? Hi Chandu, where do we find the details of service available for each region? I will show you that. I will share you the link. Hi Tarak, the cost will vary based on service, right? Yes, the cost completely varies on the services that you're going to use. I will show you that as well. Now, services offered in each day. Services offered Azure data. So you can just copy this and I will share it to you. Okay, you have a detailed map over here. Right. Let's go ahead. So what is a compute service? The compute is nothing but the virtual machines, the scalability, the serverless code, all these things that you're going to manage. So going to build the products, okay, and you're going to maintain it on a data center with help of the virtual machines. So let's say you're going to build an application like Flipkart and you will be managing it on the virtual machine that has to process the storage, that has to process the high availability of these things. So that's the normal compute service, and there you come up with your scalability, your distributed system functionality, your applications, your runtime processing, all these things. Okay, so that's a compute service. So the compute service that we have here is you have virtual machines. I hope you guys know what is a virtual machine. So a virtual machine is just a machine that you're going to spin up on the cloud to manage your workloads, to manage your operating system, all these things virtually. VM scale set is where you're going to manage number of virtual machines. You can create up to thousands of virtual machines. Excuse me. Yes. Sorry. So you can manage up to thousands of virtual machines on the VM scale set just in a matter of minutes. And you have Azure containers where you can create a container. Container is not the virtual machine. It is the next generation of virtual machines where it makes your process to be lightweighted. So you have Azure containers and you go up with the container registry where you can store and you can manage the container images across the Azure deployments. Next comes your functions. So the compute service has functions as well, which is a serverless environment, and you have batch where you can scale it up for the data where you're going to do the staging and execute the compute pipelines. You also have microservice applications which comes up with service fabric. So you have the application deployment and you just manage the things over there. The next comes cloud services where you have the support for different environments using the cloud services. Hi Harsha. Container is nothing but it is a lightweighted one. It is not like virtual machine. It doesn't have a Hyper-V. Okay, it is a lightweighted one where it just abstracts the things that you need on the image of the virtual machine. It will not call you the entire image of the virtual machine. It will make your process to be lightweighted. Hi Chandu, can you give more idea on containers and container registry? Of course. See, when you take up a virtual machine on cloud, you're going to call the entire, let's say, a Windows Server machine, and you will be having plenty of components on a Windows Server machine which you're not going to use it. Okay. Whereas when you go for containers, you're just going to call that I need the Windows Server machine with each and every functionality of what you need alone. Let's say, for example, you no need Windows Defender, you don't need the other components like let's even say the application packages that comes up with the Windows Server. So all those unwanted things you can remove it. Okay, so that's where you go for containers. Well, you're not going to call the entire virtual machine. So that makes your application to be lightweighted. Are you clear, Rishabh? Sorry, Chandu. Harsha, are you there, guys? Make it interactive, please. Hi, Chandu. Yes, it's not customizing the image. It is just abstracting the components, whatever you need. That's it. You're not going to customize it. You can even build your own image as well. Okay, Sandeep. See, do you have a clear idea about virtual machine? Okay, so in a virtual machine, you have the entire components, right? You have Windows Defender, you have few more application package softwares which are available that makes the image to be higher in weight. Are you clear until this? Okay. Now, container is where you're going to call the package. Let's say, for example, I just need the library files of Windows Server alone. I no need Notepad. I no need Windows Defender. Okay. So I can remove all those things and I can call the exact image of what I need. So that's where we go up with the containers. Are you clear? You are going to build an image of whatever you need. That's it. And Ranjit, we don't have the lab for containers or anything. It is 533. Containers, all these things you have in 532 and 535. Okay, not here. Difference between container and container registry. Hi Chandu. See, someone has asked for one slide to be at back. Give me a second. So here it goes. You have container where you're going to create a container. You're going to create the images. Okay. Registry is where you're going to store the images and you're going to manage it for your clients and customers. And someone was asking about auto scaling, I guess. See, the auto scaling is where, let's say, you're going to spin up a virtual machine with one core of virtual CPUs, and you have some 2 GB RAM or something like that. And you want to go up for higher machines for a short period of time alone. So, in those cases, you will go for scaling. Okay, scale up and scale down. Either you can scale up the machine's configuration or you can scale down the machine's configuration. How many interfaces can we configure for VM and containers? Pawan, what do you mean by interfaces? Can you make it simple, please? Hi, Harsha. Container is different and it is not integrated with virtual machine. Okay, that's different. Pawan, are you there? Difference between VM and container. Oh my God, once again. Karthik, better I will share a link. Okay, it would take a long time speaking the same. Okay, I have already briefed like more than 3 times about the VMs and containers. Please make sense of the links that I'm going to give. Okay, see, VM is the entire image of the virtual machine that you're going to have. Okay, container is like your Kubernetes. It's like you have Kubernetes, you have Dockers. You're just going to call the flavors of what you need. That's it. It's a lightweighted one. VM is like huge. Okay, so that's the difference between both of these things. Hi Rishabh. Yes, of course. See, Azure Functions is a serverless environment. You're just going to drag and drop the components and you're going to provision your server. Okay, so it's like you're going to manage the infrastructure, you're going to manage the serverless environment on the cloud. Batching is you're going to have data batch of Let's say you have the data which has to be done with staging. You have multiple slots and you need to move the data from one slot to the other one using pipelines. So those things can be managed using batch. Service Fabric is where you're going to manage the application using Service Fabric. You're going to manage your downtime, you're going to manage the fault domains, the update domains, all these things using Service Fabric. You're going to build the microservice application and you're going to manage it. Cloud service is it is the support that helps you to work with multiple environments. Okay. Hi Pawan, I came to know that container can have many network interfaces. Yes, Pawan, the containers can have the network interfaces as many as that it process. That depends on the configuration what you're going to select. Okay. See, we need to go up with the virtual machines. We need to make sense with the configuration. Only then you guys can understand this. Okay. And I would suggest you please don't go in detail. Just travel along with me. We are going to speak module as well as modules. Okay. So this introduction to Microsoft Azure. There are audience who have a basic knowledge alone. They are not in detail about containers and all these things. So we need to go as per the configurations as per what we have on the slides. Okay. This is just to make sure that we have different sort of compute services on the cloud. That's it. It's an introductory part. Yep. Thanks for understanding. The next is your network services. Your network services is where you have the Azure networking solutions. So you'll be having a virtual network. You can manage your virtual networks using Express route as well. That is, you can put up on the private on-premise environment, and you can also manage the user traffic towards the endpoints using Azure Traffic Manager. So you can say that the traffic can be routed towards the nearest data center region or based on the performance, based on the metrics. Okay. So all those things can be managed using Azure Traffic Manager. Azure Load Balancer is where you can distribute the loads. You can distribute the loads on each and every, for example, you have two server machines and you need to distribute the loads for both the server machines. So those things within a data center region can be done at Azure Load Balancer. The connectivity between the on-premise and the cloud machines can be done using this VPN gateway. So that's another component that we have, virtual private network gateway. Okay, so that's about the tie-up between the on-premise infrastructure and the cloud one. Asha, please make sense here. It takes a long time discussing about the introductory itself. Okay, we still have to go up with the demo part, and I want you guys to work on the demo part as well. So please make sure. I'm repeating it again. Functions is to write the serverless code. Okay, function is for serverless environment. You're going to drag and drop the things, and you'll be having your code available. Batch is for scaling up, okay, to thousands of VMs where you can do data staging. I hope you guys know what is staging deployment. So to do those things on the virtual machines, we will go for batch. Service Fabric is where you're going to build microservice applications, and the microservice applications can manage the fault domains and the update domains. Cloud Service helps you to give the support for different language platforms. So it provides you the support for Node.js, for Java, for PHP, all these things. Are you clear now? Okay, cool. Hi Tarak. The load balancer will work only within the data center region. Yes, that's right, Tarak. Only within a data center region, the load balancer will work. Whereas if it is on between different data center regions, then you will call for the traffic manager. Are you clear, Tarak? Okay, cool. The next goes here, the basic network services that we have. So this is what I was speaking about, the virtual network, load balancer, application gateway, Azure DNS, all these things. So you have CDN, which comes up with cache. Okay, it has a temporary cache which can hold the data for a particular timing. You have VPN gateway for connectivity, traffic manager, where you can connect between two different data center regions for web apps, for VMs, cloud services, all these things. Express route is to extend your on-premise environment with the cloud environment. Next comes your storage services on Azure. So the Azure storage is where you will be having two different things, like you have the Azure storage that you can put up the global audience to access the data. Like for example, you have Netflix, you have Ghana, you have Hotstar, all these things where they can put the data on the cloud and they can build applications where you're going to access the data from the cloud, from the storage. And it's highly available. It also processes the scalability to meet the needs of the customers. It gives you a good security and also the durability. The Azure storage also comes up with load balancing. Okay, you can balance the loads between data center regions and you can also manage the traffic across them. Azure storage is also massively scalable. It can make it to be distributed. It can also process multiple data center regions with geo replication. Okay, so all those things are available with Azure storage. Let's go across in detail as we go. So you have blob storage, which is binary large object. It can store all your unstructured data here. So that's your Azure storage. And yes, the Azure storage is just as similar to your S3, and your virtual network is similar to your VPC that you have there, and your virtual machines are similar to the AMIs. Okay, your EC2 instance that you have in the AWS. The next comes your queue, where you can process asynchronous messaging between the applications. You have file storage. So the file storage is where you can share the files between the on-premise and the cloud machine using the SMB protocol, or even between the cloud machines. The table storage is where you have the semi-structured NoSQL data on the cloud. So that's the table storage that we have. Next comes understanding web plus mobile services. So it's completely your web app, and the web app is where you're going to put up your web application, and you'll be having a mobile app as well. The mobile app is where you're going to build and you're going to host the backend for the mobile app. That is to send your push notification, to send the messages to be added on towards the easy tables, to build the APIs, to consume the APIs, all these things. So the web app is the normal website that you're going to build and you're going to host it on the Azure data centers using any languages. Oh, I'm getting questions. Hi, Chandu. What we call table storage in AWS. Chandu, let me complete the Azure part first. Okay, it's not exactly about the comparison. Okay, let me go with the topics, or else you guys would be facing issues on performing the hands on as well. Okay, so please travel along with me. These things you can find at, see, I already shared you the link. I have shared you the link over here. Oh, I closed it. I have shared the link comparing between the AWS, GCP, and the Azure services. Okay, so just check with that, or I can even make it up once when I complete all these things. Okay, let me complete the topics that we have in Azure first. Can you tell me about queue messaging storage? Hi Ranjit, sure. See, queue messaging is where you're going to process the message. For example, let's say that whatever the images that you're going to upload towards your Azure storage, you want it to be compressed. Okay, so those sort of messaging things you can add it on the queue storage. It can be it matters towards the size. You can add it and you can call it on the program that you're going to build it across. Are you clear, Ranjit? Ranjit, are you there? Okay, cool. Any other questions? Okay, cool. Well, the next is your API apps. The API apps is where you're going to consume the APIs. Either the APIs which are supported by Azure, which are provided by Azure, or the normal APIs that you guys are going to build it across. The next comes Logic Apps. The Logic Apps is where you're going to provide a visual designer and you're going to make it by just dragging and dropping the components that you need it across. Okay. Oh, Sandeep, please explain blob storage. See, blob storage is binary large object. It is unstructured data. You can store your media files, you can store your text files, your logs, okay? All these things can be stored on the blob storage. How on-premise to Express Gateway is connected. Pawan, we will be discussing it on the second module. Okay, I mean the second or the third module that we have. Okay, so keep your question on hold until we go there. Okay, it's a introductory part, please. No, it's not a third party. We have a tool which has been, which is like comes up with Azure itself, and you can manage with that. Okay. Hi Rishabh. Example of API is you have APIs that you can consume like Facebook, Twitter APIs, okay, all these things which are given by Azure. Previously, you should have seen that you go for the developer console of Facebook, you go to the developer console of Twitter, and you call the APIs. Here it will be available within the Azure and you can consume it. Okay, so that's API. Logic apps is where you're going to build the automation. Say, for example, you need to collect the tweets which comes up on your timeline or on your Facebook. So those things you can build the automation and you can manage it using Logic apps. So that's Logic apps. Are you clear? Okay, Rishabh, keep your question on hold. When you work on it, you can make sense. Okay. See, I will repeat it again, and still, if you're not able to understand, we need to go for hands on only, then you can understand. API is you have few APIs. Let's say you have a website, okay, and when you go to the website, you will be having an option that you can find sign in with Google, or you would be having an option sign in with Facebook, something like that. So to consume all these things, you will be having APIs that you need to call the APIs when you build a web app. So these APIs normally you need to go for the developer console and you need to call it either for the Facebook or for Twitter, something like that. Whereas here you will be having it on the cloud itself and you're just going to consume it with Azure Cloud API. That's it. You're going to pay for what you're going to use. Logic apps is where you're going to do automation work. For example, you need to collect all the data that you have on your timeline in your Facebook. So you can just use Logic apps, you can build the flows and that can collect the data. It can store it on your Google Drive or it can store it on your OneDrive. So that's Logic apps. Are you clear now? Cool. Well, the next service that we have here is your advanced web plus mobile services, which process notification apps. Notification apps is to send the notifications. It's a push out engine that you have and you will be sending messages towards all the web apps, mobile apps, all these things. The next comes your event apps where you can scale, you can send your information, you can process the data streaming towards millions of informations like, for example, on your IoT hubs, okay, or for the event apps, whatever you have. The next comes your Azure search. The Azure search is where you can have the cloud search functionality that you can search within the website. For example, in each and every website, you can find a search panel where you can search within the website, right? So those things you can do it using Azure search. Let's go for the next one. Understanding your Azure database services. So your Azure comes up with couple of relational and non-relational databases. Okay. Your relational database is your SQL database, your MySQL, your Postgre, all these things. Your non-relational database is your Cosmos DB that comes across. So this process you high availability, high throughput, low latency, okay, all these things. So the different types of Azure database service that we have is your SQL database, you have the document DB, you have Redis cache, all these things. SQL DB is the normal database that we use. You would be using MySQL using the SQL Server Management Studio, and that's the same that you have it on the cloud, which we call it as Azure SQL database. Document DB is a older one. The new name is Cosmos DB, which is a wrapper of your non-relational database that we have. Okay, you have the table APIs, you have graph APIs, all these things which are added up on this document DB. So it's a NoSQL one. Your JSON, your Node.js, all these things are going to work with your document DB. So this also provides you a predictable performance. It gives you a highly availability. It provides you the scaling functionalities, global distribution, all these things. The Redis cache is where you're going to make it to be highly secured, and it's going to be on a dedicated environment where you're going to have it on an advanced key value store. Okay, so a best example for a Redis cache is, let's say you're at Flipkart website. You log out from the Flipkart website without ordering the product. In that case, you can land up on the same page again when you go for the flipkart.com. I hope you should have seen that, right? Or you will even get a notification that you missed to order this product as such. So those things can be done with Redis cache. Next is your Azure integration service, which is the hybrid environment. So you can go without writing the code. So it's like you have the service bus, you have SQL Server Stitch database where you can integrate with a third party or you can integrate with the on-premise environment. The next comes your security, which is your Azure functionalities. Like, for example, let's speak about Azure AD, the key services that we have, all these things. Hi, Rishabh. Please use examples for making the concepts clear. Probably why we used, and that's why it became available. Rishabh, are you asking about why? Are you guys not clear about the examples which I'm saying here? I told you a best example for Redis cache. Oh, okay, wait. Let's go up here. You guys know what is a SQL database, right? Do you need an example for a SQL database? Oh, okay. See, a SQL database is a relational database. It has a primary key, okay? It has index, it has tables, it has rows, columns, all these things. And in the SQL database, you can store your data. It's like for a banking application, you have a SQL database, okay? So here, instead of managing the SQL database, you know why we are going to the cloud. So instead of managing the SQL database at on-premise, you're going to move for Azure SQL database. So it is same like whatever you have. You're going to create a server connectivity. You're going to manage your banking application or anything using Azure SQL database. Okay. And there you can store all your data in on the cloud. Just instead of MySQL at on-premise, you're going to use Azure SQL. Are you clear? Are you clear, guys? Okay. The next is your NoSQL. I mean your document DB or your Cosmos DB, all these things. So here you cannot write T-SQL queries. You cannot write SQL queries here. Here the input is all in the form of Node.js or in the form of your JSON statements. Okay. So it's a lightweighted one. Each and every JSON statement, whatever you have, is a lightweighted one. So you're going to input your data here and you're going to process queries for those JSON queries alone, JSON statements alone. So this is like it's going to be lightweighted compared towards your SQL database. Okay, it's going to be a lightweighted one. It's going to come up with a cost cutoff, and it makes your process to be simple when you integrate with applications like your WhatsApp or anything like that. So there we go for the Cosmos DB. Are you clear? Okay. By default, which do DB uses Azure? There's no point that Azure is going to use a database, Tarak. You are the customer, you are going to use it. This is all services that we have. Azure doesn't need to use any database, right? Why should Azure use a database? The service that you're going to build, you're going to consume it. Are you clear, Tarak? Tarak, are you there? Make it responsive, please. Okay, so let's go to the next part. Yes, here we go. The key vault. The key vault is where you're going to have the cryptographic keys. So for each and every service that you're going to use here, you would be having a key vault. Okay. So you should retrieve the key vault. For example, Azure.compute will be having a key vault. You need to register the key vault. Only then you can consume it. Okay. I will just show you guys here. Or give me a second. Let me complete this introduction and I will show you on the Azure portal. Okay. The next is your Azure AD, where you can manage the tenants. You can create your tenants, like for example, Pavan at CodeSizzler.info, something like that, and I can manage it for setting up the multi-factor authentication, for setting up the device registration, from which device you will be accessing it. Okay, so all those things can be done here. And Azure AD B2C is the comprehensive cloud identity management, which means that you build a customer web facing applications and there you give the login and all these things. Hi Tarak. uh, Two slides back as well. Please go back one to two slides as well and use examples if possible. One to two slides. You mean this slide, Rishabh? What else? You mean for this one? I already explained this before SQL. You mean for this event types and Azure search, all these things? Okay. Well, I remember I gave this before. Okay, I will repeat it again, but please make sure that you will be focusing your, okay, because it's like almost we have only another 1.5 hours. I normally used to complete it at least 45 minutes before, where you guys need to work on the practical things. We have not gone for demo itself yet. Okay, so please concentrate here. Notification hub is for sending push notification messages. Okay, notification hub is a higher band compared towards your mobile apps. Now, notification hub, a best example is that you should have seen nowadays in your web browser. You could find the notifications that you get it from the Flipkart, you get it from Redbus, something like that. When you subscribe for it, for example, let me go here. I will see whether it's available. Redbus.in. So when we come here, we should get a notification here. It will ask whether I can send you the notifications or what like that. So that's what we call it as notification app. So to process those things, you get the notification apps. Event hub is to send the messages. So from one sort of components, let's say from IoT device to the storage, Azure storage, you need to send the messages. Okay. So for those things, you will be using event hubs. And Azure search is to search within the web app or anything like that. For example, you can find it here. Can you find this search here? So this is like Azure search. You can say Azure, okay, and you will get the whatever the things that you have on Azure search over here. So it's like you give the search functionality to be added up with the data which is available. Okay. The next is Azure AD Domain Service. The Azure AD Domain Service is where you're going to give a domain join. For example, let's say it's like DNS. See here, I have CodeSizzler.AzureWebsites.net. This also lands up on the same page. Okay, you can find it here. Give me a second, it's loading. See, this lands up on the same page, and you also have CodeSizzler.in. Proceed to CodeSizzler.in. So here also it lands up on the same page. Okay, so this is where we go up with this. Clear? So it's your AD B2C tenant that you're going to add it up over here. Next is your multi-factor authentication. So for each and every email accounts, you're going to set up either OTP or using Authenticator app. So that's multi-factor authentication that we have. The next comes your developer tools. So what are the developer tools that we can use on Microsoft Azure? The Microsoft Azure uses your Visual Studio Code. It also uses your Visual Studio Team services, your PowerShell, okay, your dev test environments, your Azure portal, all these things. So that's the developer tools, which are different sort of things that you'll be using. Your VSTS is here. So you can go for VSTS, visualstudio.microsoft.com, and you can develop projects here. So it's all like you have it on the cloud. You're going to script it on the cloud. That's it. You can do continuous integration, you can do continuous development, everything using VSTS. The next comes your application insights. It's available within the Azure cloud, okay, where you can collect all the logs and you can store it over there. I will show you on the module that we go across, okay. It collects all the information about the web app over there. API management is where you're going to build the API and you're going to consume it. I can show you that on the Azure portal. Let me go for Azure portal. So you can access the Azure portal. Wait, let me go for a notepad and I will make a note of it. So Azure exam 7523. So your Azure portal comes up with two things. One is your old portal, okay, which we call it as classic portal, and the second one is your new portal, which is your resource manager portal. So this you can access it. It's not now available. It was previously available. You can access it manage.windowsazure.com. Okay, and this portal you can access it using portal.azure.com. So I hope you guys can find it here. I am accessing it using portal.azure.com. Okay, so let's log in here. I'll go for my Azure account. And here you can create the API services and all these things. Okay, this is how your Azure portal looks like. Here you can create the API services that you need. The next comes your managing and monitoring things. So the managing and the monitoring things can be done with the automation. Okay, it can be done with a server backup, all these things. So you can do either with Azure Resource Portal, the one which we have logged in, or you can even go up with Azure Resource Manager. You can create a with a Visual Studio, okay, and you can also go up with automation. The automation is where you're going to build with the run books, okay. So to spin up the virtual machine or to stop the virtual machine, to do the scaling functionalities. So all those things you can do with automation. Managing Azure with Azure portals can be done just by going with your Azure portal. Okay, I don't want to waste your time still going on with the slides. Instead, I will go with this portal and I will help you to make sense. Okay. So initially, if you're not having an Azure account, go for azure.microsoft.com and you can find start free here. Okay. Please make sense here. Okay. Concentrate here, guys. Please make sense. I'll give you time to work on the demo. You can go for start free and you need to sign in with your account. Okay. Which will give you 12 months free access, 12 months of free access. Okay, you can click on start free. It will sign into your Azure account. You need to sign up here and you need to give your credit card details. You will not be charged, don't worry, you will not be charged. You will be just charged 2 rupees for the verification and you will get it reimbursed immediately. So here it helps you to get $200 which will be at free of cost. Okay, for 30 days of time. Sorry, it is only for 30 days. Okay. So you can click on sign up and you can just sign up over there. Are you clear, guys? Do you want me to repeat it again? Yes, clear. Okay, cool. Now what we are going to do is I'm just going to work on few things. Let's mention tasks. Okay. So I'm going to work on creating, or let's say first exploring the Azure portal. Okay. Exploring Azure portal, and we will create a lab virtual machine which we are going to use for all the demos. And we were going to work with web apps. Okay, I mean, let's say an introductory part on the web apps, and the same we will be doing with PowerShell as well. So we are going to work with all these things now. So now to explore the Azure portal, you can find it here. This is your Azure portal. Okay, so you have a search bar. You can search for the resource here. You have a notification icon here, a PowerShell window. Okay, it's Cloud Shell, which is the PowerShell on the cloud. So you can click on Cloud Shell, you can enter the commands, the CLI environment, and you have the settings panel. You can go to the settings, you can change the color, okay, and you can choose the theme. You can log out, you can set the time when it has to log out automatically. You can send the feedback here. You can get the help and the support option here, and you have filtering the tenants here. Okay, so you can filter the tenants as well. Hi Rishabh, you need a break? Okay, let's do one thing. Let's take a break for some 10 minutes as of now, and then I will get into it. Okay, because once when I get logged in, then I would not find time to break the flow. So you can take a break now, okay? But make sure that you guys join by 10 minutes, please. Okay, it's Indian time, which is 8:35 a.m. Let's join by 8:45. Okay. Yes, I'm here. I'm back. Shall we start? Others? Cool. Yep. Thank you. So here we have this Azure portal, okay, and you can find the notification panel. You can find the subscriptions that you own, and you will be having an option for here. You can find it here, right? You have create a resource. You to have all services. Okay, you can click on all services to find what all the services that you have over here. So this is all the services that are supported by Azure. It's common. Okay, it's not subjected to any data center region or anything like that. And you can also find all resources. All resources is it says whatever the resource that you guys have created so far. So that's all resources. And you have a dashboard. So this is the dashboard which you can find with all resource, services, marketplace, all these things. So now the first thing we are going to do is we are going to create a lab virtual machine. Okay. So let's go here and I will click on create a resource. For this particular training, we need a Windows Server machine, okay, with Visual Studio because we are going to work with ARM templates as well. So you say that I need Windows Server, or I will just say, take a note of it, please. Visual Studio Community 2017. Can you find this on Windows Server? So I'll click on this. So I just want you guys to give a high visibility. Yes, you can find it here. It's Visual Studio Community 2017 on Windows Server. Okay, so I will select this. So that's an image. You're going to create a virtual machine. And see, the deployment model is Resource Manager. Classic is no more available. Okay, so only Resource Manager. So click on Resource Manager and click on Create. Give me a second. Visual Studio Community 2017 with, just search for 2017 on Windows Server. Okay. Well, so sorry. So now let's give a name for this. I'll name this as Lab VM, and the disk type I'll go for a standard hard disk. I hope you guys know the difference between a hard disk and solid state drive. So hard disk will give you a less performance compared to a solid state drive. Okay, and cost wise, solid state drive is a costly one, whereas hard disk will cost you less. So I'll go for a hard disk one. Let's give a username, demo user. Remember this username and password, please, and the password. Remember this username and password. And now we are going to create a resource group. So resource group is a logical location of where you're going to allocate all your resource. So here I'm going to create a resource group named as codes. Okay, let's name it as Edureka resource group. And location is your data center location. So you have all these data center locations here. Better I will go for Southeast Asia, which is Singapore. And if you have a license with you, which is at on-premise, you can just click on yes. And when you deploy it, it will be asking you for a license, okay, which will come up with a cost cutoff, which is 49%. You need to give a product key there. Now I don't have any license here, so I'll just click on no and let's click on OK. So the first blade, the basic blade deals with name, VM disk type, username, password, subscription, resource group, all these things. Let's click on OK here. Well, the next one that we have here is that you're having different sizes of virtual machines. Okay. Now, better what we can do is let's go here for Googling it, and I'll say different different sizes of virtual machines in Azure. So you can find your Windows VM sizes in Azure. Just make sense with this. I will copy this link and share it with you guys. Okay, you need to make sense here about which size will be optimal for your purpose. So it says that for basic usage like testing, development, all, you can use these machines. Okay, so now what I will do is I will just go here and I will say that I need a DS1 underscore V2. You can find it here. Can you find this DS1 underscore V2, which is going to cost me 3,800 bucks for a month. So let's select this DS1 underscore V2 and I will click on select. And next goes your availability zone, all these things. As of now, don't do anything. Okay, just click on OK for the third blade. We will be working on the networking and the virtual machine. And by that time, you can make sense about these things. Okay, just click on OK for this. Yes, Harsha, you can also change the VM size later. So let's click on OK. And yeah, the port number, let's say it will be using 3389. Okay, RDP, remote desktop. So you'll be using RDP 3389. Click on OK. And this is a summary. It will tell you how much it's going to cost you for 1 hour. So for 1 hour, it is going to cost you 5 rupees. Okay, INR 5 rupees. And let's click on create to get it created. You can find it here. It's getting created. Let's wait for the deployment to be completed. No, Rajit, this is not a free trial VM. It's a cost. It will cost you. See, it will cost me from this 7,100 bucks what I have here. For you guys, you'll be receiving 13,000 if you're activating your free trial, and from there it will be costing you. It will not cost you from your credit card. Yeah, it will not cost you, Vipul. My Azure free trial account already expired. Can I use same email to sign up for another free trial? No, you cannot do that, Vasil. You need to create another email ID, and from there you can. Free trial period for 1 month or 1 year. It's for 1 month, Arsha. I'm an infra guy and I don't have knowledge on coding. I'm planning to be a DevOps engineer. Is it possible? If yes, then we would have been to the requirements page sets that has Linux service requirements with root details. You're an infrastructure guy, right? So you need to be here only at 5:33. It speaks about implementing Azure Infra Solutions. So, what all exams should I need to go through? I would recommend you to go up with 7525 after 5:33. Hi Whipple. After 1 month, it will not charge until you give an update for Microsoft saying that they can charge from your credit card. Fine, Whipple. Can we directly go to 535 as we don't have DevOps knowledge or more knowledge about 532? See, 532 is completely on developer track. It has nothing to do basically. So you can go for 535. Just have few knowledge about containers and all these things, then you can go for it. Hey Arsha, how long it will take to create a VM? It's supposed to be like some 2 or 3 minutes of time. Let's see, let's go for all resource. Ranjit, this is for infra only. Please check the course outline. I was discussing about it by the first part itself. I discussed all the modules, whatever we have. Let's go for the resource group and I will check it here. Yes, you have edureka-rg and there you have this lab VM. Okay, so let's go for this lab VM and you can find the IP address here. Okay, it's still creating. Let's wait for it. Can we console to VM in Azure? Yes, you can access it. See, you're speaking about accessing the VM from the console, isn't it? From PowerShell or anything like that. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yes, you can do that. Hi, Asha. How many types of VMs available for Azure VM apart from Windows? The best thing that I can help you is you just go here, search for VM images in Azure. Okay, because they keep updating. They cannot say the exact number of counts that you have. One sec. You should be finding here. See, it's all for Microsoft Windows Server, and same you will be having for Linux as well. Okay, just check this page. You should find it for Linux as well over here. Yes, Tarek, it will be displaying that the VM has been created as such. Okay, let's wait for it. Yes, it has been created. Let's go ahead. So I will just copy this IP address from here, the public IP address. You guys, if you're working from Windows machine, you can click on connect. You will get a remote desktop file and just open it. Okay. So I am from a Mac environment, so I will copy this. I'll go for Microsoft Remote Desktop. So it's the name of the VM is Lab VM, and the IP address is here. and let's connect now. So click on continue to validate the certificate and we get connected here. People just click on OK on the third step. Hi Karthik, what is basically subscription change? Subscription change? What do you mean by that? If you're having multiple subscriptions, you can change the subscriptions. It's getting loaded. Let's wait for it. Okay, so here let's go ahead and yep. As an Azure admin, do we need to take care of the Windows patching for VMs? No, see, patching all these things for Windows, it will be taken care by Azure. You no need to do it. So let's come here and I will go for the local server. Let's turn off the IE enhanced security configuration. Please concentrate here. We are running out of time. Please concentrate here. Go for IE enhanced security configuration and put it off. Okay. That will allow you to browse and do things. Now let's go for Internet Explorer. So here you can find one thing, you can find it over here is you have Visual Studio. Can you find this? So it's a Windows Server machine which has come up with Visual Studio itself. And now I will download PowerShell as well. So I will go for azure.microsoft.com. Shit. Yep. So go here and click on, see, you can come here for the more. Okay, you have resources. I request you guys, please make sense here. I would not be able to repeat it again. Come for azure.microsoft.com. Come for resources. Scroll down. You can find downloads here. You have downloads. So go for downloads and again scroll down. You can find PowerShell here. PowerShell Windows install. Click on this and save this. Okay. And now open the folder and run this PowerShell file which I have downloaded. So let's open this and I will install it. So I'm installing PowerShell on this machine. Okay. Hi Harsha. PowerShell is not inbuilt. I mean, it's an inbuilt one, but you cannot run the resource manager command, all those things. I will show you. Wait. See, this PowerShell helps you to run the commandlets, okay, for Azure services. Now, let me install this. I will show you one thing. You cannot run the open source commands. You cannot run the resource manager commands, all those things over here. Okay, so let's click on finish. And yeah, please make sense here. You have web platform installer. So here what you need to do is you need to install Azure cross platform. So this is what we will not have it on the normal Azure PowerShell. Okay. So this will help you to add the resource manager commands, your PowerShell commands. Okay. So all these things, your open source commands. So let's click on I accept and let's install this. I hope you guys are there with me. Right. Okay, so let's click on finish and I'll click on exit now. Now let's go for PowerShell. So I will go for PowerShell underscore ISC. So here goes your PowerShell. Okay, please make sense here. Here goes your PowerShell, and let me zoom it for you guys. Oh, sorry. I hope it should be visible for you all. Well, so now let's enter command. You have two scripts here. So here you can write your ARM scripts, okay, and here you can give your commands. Let's give the commands. I'll give login hyphen Azure RM account. Okay, so I'm going to log in for my Azure Resource Manager account. So that's login hyphen Azure RM account. Hi Ranjit, we have that one as well. Okay, I request you again, please go through the modules. We are at introduction of Microsoft Azure. Okay, we will be working on it as we or to go with the further modules. Is that okay? So it's developer.pharaoh@outlook.com. So just want to know the list of softwares to install the PowerShell. Yeah, Chandu, go for web platform installer. Okay, and search for Azure cross platform and install that. Okay, so here I have signed into my account. Okay, so once after I sign in, I need to get the subscriptions, right? So I'll just say get hyphen Azure RM subscription. Okay, so when I give this, I will be listed out with all the subscriptions, whatever I have here. Can you find this? I have three subscriptions where a couple of them are disabled, I guess. Yes, one is disabled, and I have two which is enabled. So now I will go for selecting the subscription. So from this multiple subscriptions, I'm going to select the subscription which I need. So let's say select hyphen Azure RM subscription which is Visual Studio Enterprise. Okay, so I'll be selecting this. So it's selected now. Now let's go for the next demo. See my demo, the next one that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a web app. Okay, so normally when you're going to create a web app, I will show you here. Okay, let's go for Microsoft Azure and let's click on create a resource. I'll go for web and a web app. So here just makes sense. I will make it as edureka.azure websites.net. I'm going to select a subscription, what I have here. Okay, it's Visual Studio Enterprise. And the resource group, either you can create a new one or you can use the existing one. You can say existing and you can call the one which you have. Let me create a new one and I will name it as module 1. Okay, and OS, let it be on Windows. And the app service plan, please make sense here. You can create a new app service plan. An app service plan is where it comes up with different sort of tiers like standard, basic, okay, all these things. So when you say dev test, it comes up with different things. It depends on the scenario what you're going to use. Okay, for production, for isolated, all these things. We will get back in detail about the web app. Okay, as of now, just go for a basic one. I will select B1 and you can click on apply. So you can give a name here, select the data center region, give application insights as on. Okay, it will help you to help diagnose the things, and you can click on create. That's it. Okay. Now this is how you can do it from the Azure portal. Now to do the same, okay, now to do the same from the PowerShell, I will go for new, or first I need to create a resource group, right? So I will go for new hyphen Azure RM resource group hyphen name. Let's name it as Edureka 1. Okay. So it's asking for location. Let's give the location as Southeast Asia. And here now let's create a web app. So I will give new hyphen Azure RM web app with a name. Okay, and the name I will name it as CodeSizzler Feroz. And next we need the app service plan. So let it create an app service plan. I've named it as Fero apps. And let's give a location. I hope you guys remember all these things. So let's give it as Southeast Asia. And the resource group name will be Edureka 1. Okay, Edureka 1. Are you clear? Any questions? Guys, are you there? Yep, following along. Okay, cool, Rishabh. Thanks. Thanks, Pawan. So let's just click on enter, and this will create the web app now. So it's creating web app, creating all these things. Well, here we go. I have created a web app. Okay. So the web app has been created with the name CodeSizzler Feroz.azurewebsites.net, and that's available on a resource group. Where do we have the resource group name? Should find it. Yes, the resource group Edureka 1, and the computers Microsoft.web. Okay. So there we go up with the web app. Yes, Karthik, you can also integrate third-party apps here. You can also do that as well. So now let me go for this resource group, and you can find Edureka 1, and you have a web app here. So you have web app and app service plan. Let's open this web app now. It's CodeSizzler. You should find the template. It's CodeSizzler. What is it? Yes, here we have. Let's click on that. CodeSizzler Feroz.h. Yes, so this is a template that we have, that your web app is running as such. Now, to see the content, what we have inside this, and just giving you an introduction, I'm not going in detail. Let's go for SCM, okay, which is the console management for Kudu console. And when you go here, you can find the debug console. So go for the debug console, you can find command, and you have the site here, you have the root, hosting start, just click on the edit. So this is the template which we have. Now let's click on cancel, and I'll create a new file. Let's click on this plus icon, new file, index.html, and here I will create a file. I'll name it as html h1. Welcome to Edureka's online training on Microsoft Azure. So let's click on save, And now let's try refreshing it. Let's go for CodeSizzler. Sorry. So here you go. Okay, you have the content here. Are you able to follow, guys? Tarak, come on, CodeSizzler is the company name. Okay, that's my company. Okay, cool. So now you can just go ahead. You can give any unique name. Okay, the name should be unique. That's it. So now to delete this, I will just go here and I will say remove. Okay, I want to remove the entire thing. So I will say remove hyphen Azure RM resource group with a name Edureka 1. So it's asking for a confirmation. Let's give yes, and that will remove all the components, whatever you have there. So that's a cleanup. Doesn't PowerShell give any pop-up before removing? It gave you a pop-up, Rishabh, but it was asking you for a confirmation. I clicked on yes. Chandu, do we also see the name of the server where our web app is hosted? See, Chandu, you will not get the name of the web app because it is not an isolated one. It is one among where you have uploaded it. Okay, you will get the app service name only here. So you can find that here. Give me one sec. Should find app service. Can you find this? Fero apps. Okay, server information, Fero apps. No problem, Rishabh. Just check for the video. Okay, you will be having this video available. You can even check it on YouTube. I will upload it on the YouTube, but you will have it on the Edureka as well. You just go for YouTube and you go for the channel CodeSizzler. So here you can find it on the videos. I will upload over here. Okay, you can check it on the videos. You would be having it here. Okay, so just check it over here. So as of now, it has removed the resource group. Okay, and we have done the cleanup process. Now you can just log off. You just go here, you close this, and say you need to shut down this machine. So the VM gets shut down. Chandu, there's no software. You need to go for. I have already shared you the link. You can go for web platform installer and search for Azure cross platform. That's it. Please check the video. Once after you complete the session, check the video at least. Your current security settings do not allow this file to be downloaded. Tarak, you need to go for Internet Explorer settings and there you need to change the options. So now let's come here. I will go for the resource groups and I will show you. See, Edureka 1 is not available. You have Edureka-RG alone, and you can click on the virtual machine, click on this VM, and click on stop, and click on yes. So that stops the VM. You cannot access the VM once when it stops, and you will be charged with a minimal cost alone, not a huge cost as such. Okay. Any questions? So as a summary, you just go across this Azure portal. Okay, activate your Azure account, access this Azure portal. Okay, create a VM, which is a lab VM. Try creating a web app. Try creating by PowerShell as well, and do the cleanup process. Finally, make sure that you stop this lab VM. You pass this virtual machine. Okay, click on stop, and that will stop the virtual machine. Are you clear, guys? Already it was in off mode. Okay, can you repeat how to stop? Go here, Ripple. Go here, click on this stop. It has been, it has been disabled now. Okay. Under administrator section, there's two radio buttons again. Where, Tarek? Can you show me? Under IaaS settings. Oh, you're speaking about that? Okay. Uh, you should turn off for both the things. You're speaking about the server manager, I guess. Okay. Go for turning off for both the machines. Can you please share the PowerShell command to create VM and remove it? Not exactly. Uh, Give me a second. I need to write it across once again then. Still one thing. Give me one sec. Let me find a way to share it with you guys. Okay. I'll just write it here and I'll share this file with you guys. Okay. So first, to log in for Azure, give it as login hyphen Azure RM account, and to go up with your new resource group, give it as new hyphen Azure RM resource group. Okay, and it will ask you for a location, all these things. So give the location and the location which you need. You need to mention it here, like Southeast Asia or whatever it is. Before that, give the subscription. So you can say get hyphen Azure RM subscription. Get the Azure subscription and select the subscriptions. Yes, select the subscription by giving it with select hyphen Azure RM subscription with the subscription name, whatever you have. Okay, and then you can go for new hyphen, sorry, new Azure web app. So you give it as new hyphen Azure RM web app and give the name, whatever you need. Okay, and the resource group, select the resource group what you have, and you need to give the location, the same location of what you have for the resource group, and the app service plan. Okay, so you give the app service plan as well, give the name here. That's it. So that will create it. And finally, to remove it, just give by giving rm hyphen Azure remove hyphen Azure rm resource group. That's it. Okay, so give all these things. Is that okay? I hope this should help you guys. I'll share this file. Okay, Harsha, if you're having multiple subscriptions, then you can go for this. If you're having multiple subscriptions, then you can select hyphen Azure RM resource group. Okay, and Ranjit, hi. Can you let me know how to re-image the existing VM so that no data loss? Ranjit, it is on automation and scripting. Okay. I hope you're the guy who are keep on asking for the further things. Okay. I request you once again, please come along with us. Okay. I cannot go for the further modules. I'm strictly subjected towards what we have in the module, and that's how we can travel. It's not individual. We have group of audience who are traveling right from basics. Okay, so it's basics of Microsoft Azure. And I have also set the objectives at the starting itself that these are the things we are going to cover. So please travel along with us. Hi Rishabh, you will not have multiple subscriptions unless you have some enterprise, something like that. I mean, like if you're paying from your credit card or something like that, then you can have multiple subscriptions. Okay, cool, Tarak. So that's all across. I will share my email ID. Okay. So this is my email ID. Do let me know if you have any questions. And this is my Twitter account as well. And my company Twitter account is CodeSizzler. You can also write for Twitter if you have any questions or anything like that. Yes, people, you will be having only one subscription. Okay. And yes, so I will just push the video in at the YouTube channel. Okay, you can search for the video over there itself. I cannot share the slide presentation. Sorry for that, Vasu. It's a copyright protected by Edureka. So I cannot do that, and sorry about it. Just go ahead with what you have right now. Okay, the video would be available here, and you will be getting a feedback form as well. Once when you log out, please do fill the feedback form. That would help us a lot. Okay, and that's it for the day. So this notepad, whatever I have it here, right? Sorry, whatever I have it here, I will just save it. File share with. Let's do one thing. I will export as PDF. Edureka module 1 notes. Okay, and it's for exam 7523. So exam 7523. So this one I will share it, okay, for you guys on the YouTube channel itself. I'll just put it on the comments down. Okay, you can get it from there. Is that okay? Hi Rishabh. See, it depends. Like if you consider you're working for Infosys. Okay, Infosys will give you the subscription. You no need to buy it. And now you also have a free trial. So in those cases, you'll be having multiple things. Okay, if you're working for some other client, they will give you the subscription. Okay, so in those cases, you will just use the subscription which you need. You will not buy it, right? I hope you're getting it. If you're working for a client company, you will be getting a subscription from them, and you would be already having a subscription as well. So in those cases, you will be having multiple subscriptions. Any other questions? Yes, Karthik, you can also create a container from the Azure portal. You just go to the Azure portal here and you say, I need to create a container. It's called as Azure Container Service. Can you find this container service? Okay, you can go here and you can create a container. Uh, Rishabh, Rishabh, see, I will explain you once again. Consider I'm running a company. I have a client who is Edureka. I also have another client who is, let's say, Microsoft. Now I need to do a POC for Microsoft. So what I can do is I can select a subscription which is named as Visual Studio Enterprise Microsoft. If I am going to handle a training for Edureka, I can again select the subscription, which is another subscription, which I can name it as Visual Studio Enterprise Edureka. Are you clear? So the scenarios can be like if you're doing a POC or if you're going to develop a project, then you will be sticking on to that. Hope you're clear, right? Cool. Tarek, yes, you need to add Azure cross-platform after installation. Well, any other questions? Someone was asking for AWS, right? You mean easy tables with the AWS? See, in AWS you don't have easy tables. You just have DynamoDB. That's it. Okay. So AWS will not support you for that. And subscription means it's a kind of license to use the service, right, Chandu? Please don't mind. Please let me know the learning path for DevOps engineer. For DevOps engineer, learning path for DevOps engineer. Do one thing, Rishabh. I need to search for it. Okay, so just drop me a mail. I will write you in detail. I'll check that and I'll write you in detail. Cool. Any other questions? We'll do lab on VM set. You mean skill set, right? Yes, we have that. We will be doing that. Well, guys, so let's close with this for the day. So I'll wrap up once again. Please do the demo of whatever we discussed today. Okay. And let me know if you have any questions. Uh, Before joining for tomorrow, please make sure that you'll be working on this and you'll be having a virtual machine. Okay. Because we need to work on the same for tomorrow as well. So by that, we can close for today. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. Drop me a mail or you can even write me on Twitter, something like that. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining then. What is the notepad file can be downloaded from YouTube? Yeah, Tarak, I will add it immediately. Okay, just by another half an hour, you can check it over there. What is the objective for tomorrow? Good question, Rishabh. Here we go. Implementing and managing your Azure virtual networks. I mean, your networking things. So I'll be working on what is a VNet, how to create a VNet, all these things. Okay, I'll just show you the objective alone. So we'll be working on virtual networks, creating load balancer, okay, application gateway, and network configuration, multi-site to site, all these things. Okay, so it's completely about virtual networks. We will make sense about how you can deploy a proper virtual machine. Okay, Vipul, I will add the PowerShell on a drive and I will share it on the YouTube on the comment section. How to find you in Twitter? That's a nice question. Here goes couple of my Twitter handler. Okay. So one is my personal one, and then the one is the company one. So you can search with these account details. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining. Wish to see you guys by tomorrow on joining the session.